Hey, it's Mr. Johns. Welcome to virtual driving lesson number 2. First of all, I noticed that my goatee, which is grayish white, disappears on my green screen, so apologize for that. Also, we in virtual driving lesson number 1 just got familiar with the vehicle and did a circle of safety, got in, got familiar with where everything is, got comfortable, put our seat belts on, adjusted the mirrors, and then did some practice starting, stopping, steering, went out on the road, had to do some U-turns because the roads were blocked, came back and parked. So that was our first drive. So it was fairly simple, no traffic. One thing I noticed with this program, beamng.drive, as you can see, it's drawing my vehicle and my city right now. I got a pretty fast gaming computer and it still struggles a little bit sometimes, and if I add the AI, the computerized cars, okay, now it's usually not that slow. There we go. Okay. One thing that I noticed is that the computerized cars are a disaster. Like, I love having traffic to interact with. That's the whole point, right? But it's fairly glitchy. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you. I think it's better. I don't know. Sometimes this is about my 9th time playing this game, and I've noticed that sometimes I'm like, yeah, forget it. No more cars. They just crash. They just stop in the middle of the road. I have to go around them. I have to break some laws to go around them, which obviously is not what I want to do. But then when I drive on the roads with no traffic, it's hard to teach certain things like following distance and things like that. So we'll give it a shot again with cars. And all right, so in this particular lesson, what I want to talk about are basic traffic laws. All right, now this is Chinatown, San Francisco, California, but the laws are the same, right? So let's talk about following distance. You'll notice these cars do weird things. All right, so just ignore. Okay, my light's green. Ignore. That's an old police officer, and that's kind of cool. But what he's doing, I don't know. So I'm gonna do my best. In a way, it's kind of funny because I always think I'm probably the only good driver on the road, and I know everybody thinks that, right? I truly do believe I'm at least one of the good drivers on the road. All right, shoot, the light turned red, so I'm gonna have to stop. And in this game, it might be true. So, all right, let me talk about stopping at an intersection. All right, so the law says you have to stop at a stop line if there is one, and that's a wide white line. All right, now there aren't any at this intersection. If there's not a stop line, but there's a crosswalk, you have to stop before you get to the crosswalk. All right, so here's the crosswalk. It just means I cannot put the nose of my vehicle across that line. Okay. All right, so you can see cars are just running the red light. I thought these were multiplayer, like this was like a multiplayer universe with real drivers, and that's why they were so bad. And so then I looked it up online, and it's just computerized cars that don't know what they're doing. They haven't quite figured out how to program it yet. So remember, when the light turns green and you're the first car at the light, it turns green. Click. Ready? Click. You have to look left, right, left, and then go if it's clear. Now, that's not a law, but that is a safe driving practice. Now, it used to be, I tell you, I've been teaching driver's ed for a long time. Excuse me. Light's green. I'm watching that red car on the left. I'm going to go ahead and roll right on through. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn. I changed my blinker keys so I can find them more often. I'm going to go ahead and turn right. So I'm going to glance left. There's no traffic. So a lot of times I'm just going to use my real head. Oh, sorry, as I was pointing. My real head, instead of trying to switch to the inside the cab mode and all that. All right, so this brings me to a parking lot. And what I want to do is get out of the parking lot. So, so let me get out of the parking lot and back on the road. It's a great place to practice parking, but we want to get out here. Yes, in a parking lot, you should follow the lanes, not just cut across. Okay. Also, you can't cross a sidewalk. Okay. You have to stop before you exit. Here's a law. You have to stop before you leave your driveway, an alleyway, or a parking lot. All right. So in this case, there's a sidewalk, and so you don't want to run over a bicyclist. And so let's say I am going right. So it's a good idea to stop here. Now, even if you can't quite see, what you want to do is stop twice. Stop once here so you don't hit a bicyclist or a pedestrian. Creep forward, and maybe you don't have to stop again, but you could, and then go right. You do have to stop. You have to stop at least once. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stay in this lane. So get centered. Speed limit, I don't know. There's not a speed limit sign every 10 feet. So a lot of times you just have to look at the type of street. So this is a city street. It's probably 30, 35. Okay, now I'm going way under. And I'm going to remind you that I'm driving with a arrow key. Well, arrow keys. So my gas pedal is a tap, 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 tap. Drives me crazy. I may need to bite the bullet. Excuse me. Drink a Frappuccino. I may need to bite the bullet and buy a steering wheel gas pedal combination because this isn't realistic. So I'm going to go right here. I still have to look. I shouldn't have to look. Right? So now, look, I signal right even though I really can't go any other direction. So I just signaled because I could have gone straight probably out over onto that dirt road. So, you know, the basic rule is if there's a choice of directions, you have to signal. Okay, so, you know, if it's a right turn only, you don't have to signal. All right, so this is a steep road. I'm going to give it a little bit more gas. This is pretty much pedal to the metal in this little truck here. I'm going 32, 33, 35. All right, so that's probably the speed limit, so I'm going to back off just a little bit. All right, I see a arrow construction sign. That might mean I have to turn right, and it does. I'm still going to signal right. Good practice, right? So signal right, find my lane. Okay, in this case, the road is divided. So I've got one lane going this way. Cars are everywhere. And one lane on the other side. This green car in front of me? Don't know. All right, so some of the laws that I want to talk about and practice include following distance. So as I'm going to watch this guy and laugh. Sorry, no, that's not appropriate. I'm going to watch this guy attempt his 3-point turn in about 12 points. We'll talk about 3-point turns later. All right, I don't see a light here. I'm going to be really careful. Oh, it's a stop sign. Awesome. Okay, so this is a 4-way stop. How do I know that? I have a stop sign. There's a stop sign over there on the right. There's a stop sign straight across over there. And there's a stop sign right there. So this is a typical 4-way stop, and I'm glad I ran into that. Remember, I have to stop behind a stop line or crosswalk. Okay, let's say there isn't a crosswalk or a stop sign. Sorry, there isn't a... Hey, man, drivers. There isn't a crosswalk or a stop line. So then what you do is you make an imaginary line between this curb over here and this curb over here. And basically, I'll creep forward. Let's pretend like there isn't a crosswalk. All right, so an imaginary line. I'll just let these cars go by me. This imaginary line, which is right here with my mouse. Okay, kind of lined up with this crack right here. Perfect. And so if you do not have a stop line or crosswalk, you have to stop before the nose of your car is in the intersection, right? That should make sense. And how you find that is just an imaginary line right there. So in my case, I have a crosswalk. So I'm going to back up and do it legally. All right. So let's talk a second about stop signs. Stop signs don't mean you have to stop right at the stop sign. A stop sign just means you have to stop at this intersection. And then you look for those things. Stop line, crosswalk. Okay? All right, so how do you deal with a 4-way stop like this red truck is not doing? Whoever gets there first goes first. So, don't stress about 4-way stops. Whoever gets there first goes first. And honestly, if I'm going to get there at the same time as another car, I guess, yeah, it's a little bit stressful, but just to make it easier, I back off and let that other car get there first, and then I'm second. Okay? Easy. It's an easy fix. So if you're just not sure, whoever gets there first goes first. So let them get there first. Now let's say 2 cars do get there at the same time. The car on the right has the right of way. All right? Well, what if that car is straight across from you? If you're going straight and they're going straight, you can both go same time, doesn't matter. If one of them has a blinker on, you never turn in front of traffic. So the car going straight would go first. That's it. Those are the rules. All right, so here I am at a four-way stop. I'm going to go ahead and look left, right, left, and I'm going to go ahead and go because I'm the first one here. I am going to watch out for those people running the lights and running the signs. So at least I know the computer traffic is terrible. All right, other things on my list that I want to talk about. Following distance. Here's a car, and he may be abandoned. I don't know what's up with cars that people just get out. All right, so let's use this as an example. Let's say we're driving 30 miles an hour. The law says you have to stay 3 seconds back behind a vehicle if the weather conditions and the road conditions are perfect. All right, so today they are. It's dry, not raining. I can see perfectly. When that car passes, let's say this light post right here where my mouse is, I would start counting 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, and then I should get to that post. That means I'm 3 seconds at least behind that car. All right, so that's how you do that. You'll notice that, and watch this today, this week. Watch people in traffic in your town. They are not 3 seconds back. And so what happens is they check their phone, they tap their brake, a squirrel runs in front of them. All of a sudden they realize the light's red, bam. There's crashes. So it is a unnecessary type of crash, right? It costs money, time, insurance rates go up. It's just dumb, right? I've been driving since 1982. All right, old guy, never been in a crash. So possible, very possible, as long as you just are aware and you use these things in this class, and when you do your driving lessons, you use those things, right? That's the whole point, and it's very possible to drive forever. Just be aware of people around you. All right, so 3 second following distance. All right, so this guy apparently is not. Oh, so if the weather conditions are not perfect, you would just increase that 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds, whatever you think is appropriate. All right, lights red. I'm gonna go ahead and come to a stop behind the crosswalk. All right, this is an interesting intersection, right? I've got intersections coming all over the place. I'm gonna go ahead and go right, which I just decided, and I'll talk about. All right, so I'm just going to move my head here, left, right, left, and let me talk about left, right, left. Why do we do left, right, left? Why do we look left twice? That's because the closest traffic to us that is the most dangerous to us is coming from the left. It's closest to us. It's going to hit us first, for example. So, all right, light's red. So I'm looking ahead about a city block, as you notice. I already saw the light was red, and so that is something that you need to get in the habit of. I'm going to go straight. Looking a city block ahead. Now I keep interrupting myself, but that's normal. So this is train of thought. I'm showing you what a driver's brain should be doing as you guys going too fast, and it's still an old police car. And you can see why people like to drive in San Francisco. The roads are bumpy, are steep, they're fun. All right, lights yellow, which means mine's going to turn green when it does. I'm just going to use my real head to go left, right, left, and I'm going to go. Okay, go across down the steep hill. All right, so we talked about following distance, 3 seconds. Signaling. You have to signal for 5 seconds before you turn. That's the law. Little trivia. Oh, and you also have to turn into the closest lane to you. So right here, I have to go to this lane. The other one was a bus lane. I noticed that last second. I was going to turn there. You have to turn into the closest lane to you. And there's another example of the difference between a great driver and an average driver. Like most drivers just turn around corners and go into whatever lane they want. Yeah, that's wrong. So I'm going to go ahead and turn right here as well. So you always go to the closest lane to you. Right, so I'm going to go right here. I can't see any lanes, so I am assuming there's one lane. I'm going to stay right here in the middle. Nice and steep here. When there's that police officer again, so he's going to cause me to do what I don't want to do, which is go around him. So disregard that. We'll just say, assuming he's a drunk driver. Woo, all right, so I'm going to turn right at this stop sign. All right, so since you have to signal for 5 seconds, you can't really be making, I'm going to go left, right, left. You can't be making last second judgments. And I know that's not always possible. Right now I'm just driving around, so I'm I'm trying not to make last second decisions. If I knew where I was going, I wouldn't have to make last second decisions. All right, lights red. See how far ahead I'm looking? Lights red. And so my foot was off the accelerator, and I'm just kind of coasting. And then I'm going to tap, 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 kind of come to a nice smooth stop. I always like to assume there's a cup of coffee on the dashboard, you know, and try not to spill it. Hey, let's go left. That's an interesting street. So, okay, yeah, I'm going to wait till the light turns green. And in this case, yeah, I still go left, right, left. All right, and hey, here's a little tip. See over here, that light right there on that post? When that turns red, mine turns green. Little tip for you. I use that all the time. So ready? Mine's going to turn ready. Left, right, left. All right, and make sure that when you're in the driver's ed car, you look left, right, left. You don't just turn your head. All right, I've had some students do that, and I ding them for attitude. And remember, in driver's ed, you can flunk for having a bad attitude. And in a few cases, I kept telling this one student, you need to be looking. And she said, I am looking. Left, right, left. She would do that. I'm like, no, you need to look for traffic so we don't get hit. We had to work on that one for a while. She almost failed. So you don't want to fail just for attitude. Like, if you're not actually looking for traffic that could kill me, I'm a little worried. I'm going to keep going straight here. Lights green. Yeah, these roads are fun. All right, I'm going to take a left here. This is a stop sign. All right. Hey, as long as you go slow enough, you can control your car, right? It's when you are rushing and you don't know where you're going and you're making last-second decisions. All right, this... okay, so here's a great example. Is this a four-way stop? And I know I have to watch out for. I'm looking for, yeah. So there's a stop sign. It could have been a two-way stop, right? This side and the other side, and this lane here could have been not stopped. So this would be a two-way, but it's not. I barely can see that one there, but I can see it there. So in this case, I know I go first. My blinker's on. I go left, right, left, and I hope none of those crazy computer cars are coming. So, all right, into my lane, which in this case is on the right side of the road. I'm gonna have to go around this car. All right, so yeah, the longer the simulator runs, the more cars are crashed and are abandoned, and I just don't know why. They need to work on the programming. There's one that hit a tree. They need to work on the programming a little bit so they reset themselves. I'm gonna go right here, by the way. So, oh, sorry, wrong button. Right. Okay, so is this a stop line or a crosswalk? Let me look. All right, so it's a crosswalk. There's two lines, so there's no lines in between like some crosswalks, but if there are two lines, it's definitely a crosswalk. All right, so I'm gonna go left, right, left, and go ahead and go after this car. Closest lane to me, going down to the ocean. Looks like I'm going to the beach. All right, so we've covered 5-second signal, 3-second following distance. I'm gonna go right here. Stop sign, and looks like a dead-end road. So you can see all the things that I'm talking about. This is my brain. All right, so still left, right, left. You just do it. It's habit. Remember, everything in driving is a habit. So closest lane to me, in this case it's around that police officer, but that's the law. Closest lane to me, and this guy is on drugs. So I don't know what's going on with him. I'll let him go, and I'm gonna try to go around these other drivers. Okay. Next on my list, stopping distance behind a car. Okay. So I need to get a visual, so ignore this for a second. I am going to look over my shoulder and signal, and, oh, sorry. No, I'm not. I'm in an intersection. I'm going to keep going. I was going to use one of those stop cars. I need a stop car. So, all right, I'm going to do a lane change. So, did we talk about lane changes? Oh, that was my phone going off, which I cannot use while I'm driving, right? Texting and driving. Well, I could answer, I could talk, right? But I'm busy, so I don't want to talk. Texting and driving is looking at or interacting with the phone. Now, yes, you can answer a phone call. Yes, you can dial. Right, everything else is texting. All right, hey, so I'm gonna go ahead and do a U-turn here. Oh, you know what? No, I'm not. I'm gonna do a right lane change. So, and I'm gonna stop behind this car. Perfect. That's what I was looking for. All right. So the law says, oh, stay there, buddy. Firewood police car. So the law says you have to stop behind a car where you can see his tires touching the pavement. If I was closer, like this, too close, right? That's too close. It is too close. It makes me feel very uncomfortable. So you have to stop where you can see his back tires touching the pavement. Now, how much is that? Typically, it's about a... Stop. Drivers are crazy here. Just trying to give you an example. Stop. Okay, stop. It's about a car length. So I can't... Oh, let me see if I can get out of the... There we go. So it's about a car length away. See how I could fit one more car between me and that car. So when I'm in my car, I can just see the tires where they touch. And if I'm too close, I can back up a little bit again. All right. So keep that in mind. Two things there. One is where you can see the tires touch the ground. Secondly, it is about a car length, and I'm just backing up away from those crazy drivers. All right, so we've covered 3-second following distance, 5-second signaling, stopping behind a car where you can see their tires. Lane changes, so the steps of a lane change are signal, check your mirrors, look over your shoulder, go if it's clear. And there's an acronym, SMOG. All right, so signal, and you're going to check your, and let me switch to the inside of the car to do this justice. So any lane change, you're going to check your inside mirror to look behind you, outside left mirror, and then blind spot is the key because you can't see cars that are right there. It's weird, but there's a blind spot. You can't see the cars in that mirror or that mirror, so you have to look over your shoulder. All right, so the whole process of a lane change looks like this. All right, so we're going to signal. We're going to check our inside mirror, outside mirror, look over our shoulder, and then go if it's clear. All right, now in this case, I'm going to go way around this crash. Okay, so that is a lane change, and you will practice these a lot. So I'm going to do a right lane change. I'm going to signal. I'm going to check my inside mirror, outside mirror. And when you look over your shoulder, do it quickly. And if you're not sure, look again, right? Light's red. See how I'm looking? And I'm going to coast to a stop. All right. So the steps of a lane change. Signal, check your mirrors, and it's inside, outside. Now I don't check the other, like the right mirror, unless I'm doing a right lane change. So the reason I only did my left was because I was doing a left lane change. So if I'm doing my right, it's the right mirror. All right, so let me see if I can get any tips here when my light's gonna change. I cannot see lights. I guess I can see that light right there. See how that one's green? So, you know, it gives me something to do when, instead of looking at my phone, which you shouldn't do, even at red lights. My phone is tucked away somewhere in the glove box or armrest. So I'm looking for traffic, and I'm watching that light to see as soon as that one turns, that guy's just going to run the red light. Everybody is. Wait for that one to turn yellow. So the other things on my list, since I have a second, we talked about stopping at an intersection too. Stop light. Oh, it looks like it's turning yellow. All right, so let's go ahead and get ready. And I'll refocus here. We talked about stopping at an intersection. Left, right, left. I'm looking for anybody that might run a red light. You've seen how people run the red light. Now these are computer cars, but honestly it's not that much different out there on the road. When I first started teaching driver's ed in 1990 something, we would look left, right, left. It was just good habit, but nothing usually happened. And students always ask, why are we doing this? I'm gonna keep going straight here. And I say, well, in case someone runs the red light, it could happen if they ran the red light. Now, at least in the bigger cities, you can expect 1, 2, or 3 cars to run the red light. It is not even a question. It's more how many are going to be running the red light. That left, right, left will save your life. So when you look left, right, left, that's about 2 seconds. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000. And that's about the time it takes a car or two to go through the intersection. So remember that when your light is red, theirs is green. When yours is green, theirs is red. But people run the red light all the time. All right, this is a little skinny right here. Is this car stopped? All right. So what else is on my list? Oh, the basic rule. The basic speed rule is you can only go, so here's a speed limit sign. It's white. This is a 40-mile-an-hour zone. I'm going 10 under, but that's for this is fine. In a real car, I'd be going pretty close to that, right? And steady and consistent, but not consistent here. So, arrow keys, so much different. So I've got this red car in front of me. I'm going to make sure I'm 3 seconds behind him. So the basic speed rule says you can only go the speed limit if the conditions are perfect. So it's kind of like the 3 second following distance if conditions are perfect. But the basic speed rule is you have to go the speed that's appropriate for the conditions. And so if this was snowy, icy, foggy, I'm just going to stay in my lane, avoid this car. If the conditions were not ideal here, I would have to go less than the speed limit. And so yes, you could get a speeding ticket for going slower than the speed limit. That's a trick question you might see in the future. You could get a speeding ticket for going under the speed limit if the conditions were terrible. Okay. All right, so we have a red light and 3 cars that are stopped. You see, these are just computer cars that people are abandoning. I don't know why. So we talked about 4-way stops. One thing we haven't talked about is a turning on a red light. So if we get to one, we'll talk about that. And then parking on hills. And those are the last couple things I want to cover. I am going to wait until my light turns. Okay, there's no other light to use, so I just have to be patient. Okay, waiting for the light to turn green. And what am I going to do? It looks like I'm going to have to do a lane change. So these guys are, I got traffic behind me also, but I can't do a lane change now. There's no room, and you can't do a lane change in an intersection unless lines go through the intersection. But in this case, there's some kind of like emergency situation. I am going to go ahead and check my mirrors, look over my shoulder, make sure those 2 cars aren't going around me. And I'm going to go around this car. So I'm doing the best I can to drive legally with these crazy cars. All right. Okay. So I'm looking for some parking maybe, and looking for red lights so I can talk about turning on a red light. Now, if I don't come across a red light, I should. So let me just get back into town if I can. All right, let me do a right lane change. So signal, inside mirror, outside mirror, over my shoulder. Now remember that, what if there was a car? Let's say there was a car in my blind spot. Well, I can't do a lane change now, can I? So I'm just going to go ahead and go straight, and I'll find another way to get where I was going to go. But typically, if there's a car in your blind spot, so let's say we signal inside mirror, outside mirror, and then, there's a car. Like, it's a little scary the first time that happens to you because it's in your blind spot. So when you check your rearview mirror, there's no cars. Outside mirror, no cars. So you expect there to be no car, and then you look, and there could be a truck there. The blind spot is quite big. So if there was a car there, the best thing to do, especially if it's the only car there, leave your blinker on, slow down just a little bit, like coast just a little bit, because you can't slow down traffic in your lane. But just slow down just a little bit, let that car go by you, check your blind spot again, and then just slide over right behind him. Okay? That's typically how you deal with it. And if people see your blinker on, they will typically leave a gap for you. They'll back off and they'll let you in. It's really not that bad. So lane changes are a thing. All right, so we're going to look left, right, left. Lane changes are something you will practice until you get comfortable. Just remember that when you're looking over your shoulder, no one is looking at the road. Well, no one that has a steering wheel. So it is really important. So let's do a right lane change. So inside. And it's tough around a corner, by the way. I usually wait till I'm on a straightaway. Outside, over my shoulder. And if you're not sure, remember, look again. And I can't. Solid white line. Look at that. Solid white line. Solid white line, and that car is in my lane. Solid white line means no lane changes, and so I'm going to do it again. Inside mirror, outside mirror, over my shoulder. Awesome. So you notice that I am actually looking at the lines on the road also, and a lot of people wouldn't have caught that. So red light, going to come to a stop. If I was turning right here, I wouldn't have to stop because that road just curves there to the right, but I'm going straight. Seems like a lot going on, right? So just remember in driver's ed, they're going to introduce you to little steps at a time, not just throw you out into the city like I'm doing here. And you do this for, depending on your drive, you might be a 30-minute, 45-minute, or an hour drive. You just kind of drive around, listen to what the instructor is asking you to do. It's one of the most challenging things is you don't know where you're going. The instructor does. They have a route typically designed to go where they can teach certain skills. Like right now I'm just wandering in this simulator, so waiting for my light to turn green. All right, so left, right, left, there, just that one car, but none crossing in front of me, so I'm gonna go ahead and go. All right, oh, so I need to find an intersection with a red light. So can you see how, you know, if I'm trying to eat a cheeseburger, text, get on Facebook, a Twitter account, send an Instagram, you know, change the music, you can see how there's just not time to do that. All right, hey, so let's use this as an example. All right, now there was a right turn lane over there. Let's just say there isn't. So can you turn right at a red light? The answer is yes. So after you stop, you can look left, right, left, and you can go. It's weird, right? Like the light's red, but you can go. So you can turn right on a red light in Idaho and in most states if there's no traffic. So that's pretty cool, right? Now here's a little trivia. Can you turn left at a red light? This one's a little trickier. You can only turn left at a red light if it's from a one-way street to a one-way street. Now, I used to take students downtown Boise, and there's a few places just like that, and we would do it on purpose. And it feels weird. It feels like you're running the red light, but it's and people behind you are looking at you like, "What are you doing?" But we know what the law is. You can turn right. I know this road right here. I'm gonna go right up this hill. You can turn right at a red light after you stop. You can turn left at a red light if it's from a one-way to a one-way. All right, so this last thing that I'm going to talk about, since this hill is steep, is how to stop, how to park on a hill. All right. Oh, and I also could talk about how far away from a curb do you have to stop? Okay, the answer is 18 inches. So let's see how I did. Oh, that's not great. That's like 2 feet. All right, let's go like this. Okay. That's about 10, 12. Okay. So the law says you have to park within 18 inches from a curb. So that's 18, 17, 16, 15, etc. Closer. All right. You don't want to bump the curb. It's hard on your tires and hard on your wheels. I've scuffed up some pretty expensive chrome wheels before, and it can actually cut up the tires. So 18 inches is great. And I try to be about a foot or so. All right. Okay, but let's say you were going into a buddy's house who lives right here in this apartment building, and you're just going to leave your car here. Would you feel comfortable just leaving your car here? What if it popped out of gear? What if your emergency brake doesn't work? Like, you know, it should make you a little bit nervous. And so the key is to use the right front tire to support the weight of the car. So in this case, let me see if I can get it right. It's a little hard with this program, but okay. So it's the right front tire. Come on, get it just right. Physics are supposed to be correct on this game, but I have to get it just right. All right, that's about it. All right, so what I would do is crank my wheel to the left, put the emergency brake on, make sure it's in gear, like first gear, second gear, and then turn the key off and get out. Okay, so let me rotate my view. If it does pop out of gear, this is a great visual. That car, the truck, is going to roll back and bump that curb right there where my mouse is and not jump the curb. I mean, it can't get enough speed to jump the curb. So that's how I would leave it. Okay. If you are parked downhill, I'm going to watch this blue car here. I'm going to look over my shoulder. Okay, we're good there. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do a U-turn. Now you can't go on the sidewalk. It's going to be really close, so I'm going to have to stop and turn backwards. All right, that's a three-point turn, by the way. We'll talk about a three-point turn in a later drive. All right, so let's say I'm still going to go into that buddy's apartment building. See if I can park 12 inches from the curb. Sorry, it's actually a little more challenging than I thought. Okay, so let's say, I'm not quite straight. I'm a perfectionist, so there we go. Okay, good. All right. Now in this case, same kind of thing. Like, would you feel comfortable getting out? You shouldn't. Your truck, you might come back and your truck's way down there in the field. So all you have to do is turn your wheel right this time, right? Last time it was going to roll backwards. and you turn your wheel left. In this case, I turn my wheel right, because as you can see, if it rolls forward, it's going to roll into the curb and lock right there. So, all right, there's a couple things, and hopefully these visuals will help you way more than a PowerPoint or a page in a chapter, right, of the Idaho Driver's Manual or something. So if you get a chance to pick this game up, beamng.drive, or try it in a racing game you might have on your Xbox or PlayStation. Give it a shot. Doesn't mean just because it's a racing game doesn't mean you can't drive legally. So, all right, hey, in the next lesson we'll move on to some more advanced techniques, and I'll change things up in the terrain here and maybe drive someplace else. Otherwise, keep up the good work in the online class, and I will talk to you soon.